call it the Blackstone Asylum for the criminally insane. It was a local legend, a hulking Gothic ruin on the hill overlooking our town, a place of whispered stories about electroshock therapy, lobotomies, and patients who were never seen again. For my friends and me, seniors with more bravery than sense, it was the ultimate dare. Our plan was simple: break in on Halloween night, take some creepy photos for our social media, and get out. It was just a prank, a thrill. We never intended to wake anything up. There were 4 of us: me, Jake the Joker, Sarah the skeptic, and Liam, who was only there because he had a crush on Sarah. We slipped through a broken section of the rusted fence, our flashlights cutting shaky beams through the oppressive darkness. The air inside was thick with the smell of decay, mold, and something else, something metallic and sour. "Welcome to the nut house," Jake whispered, his voice echoing unnaturally in the vast, cavernous entrance hall. Graffiti scarred the walls, and shredded mattresses were piled like corpses. "Bet this is where they did the ice pick lobotomies." "They didn't use ice picks, you idiot," Sarah said. But her usual confidence was thin, brittle. We explored deeper, our footsteps crunching on broken glass and plaster. The silence was the worst part. It wasn't empty. It was watchful. We found a room filled with decaying leather restraints, another with a rusted, chair-like device that made us all fall silent. Liam snapped a picture, the flash illuminating the room for a split second, freezing the horror in a blinding white light. That's when we heard it. The first sound that wasn't us. It was a soft, rhythmic scrape, drag, scrape, drag from the hallway outside, like someone with a bad leg pulling a heavy weight. We froze. Our flashlights pointed at the doorway. The sound grew closer, agonizingly slow. "It's the wind," Sarah breathed, but her hand was viced around my arm. Jake, trying to reclaim the moment, puffed out his chest. "Hello? Any spooky ghosts want to party?" The scraping stopped right outside the door. The air temperature dropped 10 degrees in an instant. My breath plumed in the beam of my flashlight. Then, a voice. It wasn't a ghostly moan or a scream. It was a dry, rasping whisper, like stones grinding together, and it came from all around us. "Yes, we'll party," Liam screamed, a full-bodied, primal sound of terror. He turned and ran, shoving past us, back the way we came. Panic is contagious. We broke, our carefully planned route forgotten, fleeing blindly through the pitch-black corridors. The scraping sound started again, but it was faster now, frantic, and it was joined by other sounds, giggling from a collapsed ceiling vent, the sound of rattling metal from a room we'd just passed. We burst into a long ward, rows of iron bed frames stretching into the darkness. Our lights danced wildly, creating strobe-like glimpses of movement. In one flash, I saw a figure sitting upright on a bed. In the next, it was gone. "The door! I see the exit!" Jake yelled, pointing to a faint rectangle of moonlight at the end of the hall.
We sprinted for it. We were almost there, freedom just 20 feet away, when the heavy metal door at the end of the ward slammed shut with a deafening final boom. We skidded to a halt, our hope extinguished. The scraping was right behind us now. We turned, shining our lights back down the ward. The beds were no longer empty. Sitting on every single bed frame, silhouetted in the gloom, were figures, dozens of them. They were gaunt, skeletal, some in tattered gowns. They weren't looking at us. They were all staring, motionless, at the source of the scraping sound. It stood in the middle of the aisle, a tall, emaciated shape, its form seeming to drink the light. It held a long, rusted metal pipe that it dragged along the floor. Scrape. Drag. It took a lurching step towards us, and its head tilted at an impossible angle. The whispering voice filled the ward again, this time with a cruel, playful tone. "You wanted to see the inmates." Sarah was sobbing. Jake was just staring, mouth agape. I was backing away, my back hitting the cold, locked door. "Now," the thing rasped, "you get to stay for the treatment." It raised its free hand, and all the seated figures, slowly, in unison, turned their heads to look at us. Their eyes were just dark, hollow pits. That's when Liam, who had run off earlier, appeared at a small high window next to the locked door. He'd found another way out. "The window! Climb!" he screamed, smashing the glass with a piece of rebar. It was our only chance. We scrambled, boosting each other up, cutting our hands on the broken glass, falling out into the cold, blessedly fresh air. We didn't stop running until we were back at the car, miles away, covered in filth and terror. We never spoke about it again. We told everyone we just got spooked and left, but we knew. The prank was over. We had gone in thinking we were brave visitors to a dead place. We were wrong. The asylum wasn't abandoned. It was occupied, and we had knocked on the door, announcing our presence. We had been the entertainment for the evening. I still have nightmares about the sound of that rusty pipe scraping across the floor, and the whispered promise that echoes in my mind. They're still in there, and they're still waiting for more guests to come and play.